This conference will now be recorded.
So today we'll be starting with system arc for functional verification course. Uh, the plan will be for next 6 to 7 weeks, maximum 7 weeks. Verilog language. Is planned. After that, we will start with UV. We go for around 4 weeks. Then we'll do some AXI, EAP. Then the main project. It will be the flow. Probably 2% we may do. So things will be quick here. We'll increase the duration. Uh, every day there might be almost 5 hours of training, or including the theory exams, because we are going quite slow. Okay, so we'll be increasing the duration. So most of you would have done with the exams. So I want you to give full attention to this training. Like the term system Verilog for functional verification. Now, the system Verilog language can be used for design purpose as well as for verification purpose. So it has got a different dimension. Like in Verilog, we learned both the constructs that can be used for designing purpose as well as for verification purpose. For example, initial is test bench purpose, fork join is for test bench purpose, right? Repeat is for what? Test bench. Always is for design. Assign is for design. Like that, system Verilog also has two aspects. One dedicated set of constructs which can be used for design purpose. For example, in Verilog always is there. In system Verilog, same always has been converted to always underscore flip flop, always underscore combination, always underscore latch. So they have done some addition in the design part also.
Sir, voice is not clear.
Sorry,
Sir, voice is not clear. Somewhat
how
breaking means
others are you facing the difficulty?
Yes, sir. Same issue.
Yes,
Voice
sir.
is
The
not
audio
clear.
is low.
Okay, 1 second. Is it good now? Is my audio quality better?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, now it's better, sir.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So we were discussing that system Verilog language has two kinds of constructs. The constructs meant for only design, meant only for design. Second is constructs only meant only for extension. This is not major, actually, not major updates. It's very minor. I mean, I would say if Verilog had around 10 constructs, system Verilog made it 20 constructs. It's a small increment. Okay. This test bench construct is major update where 10 became 100 actually. There were 10 constructs in Verilog that became almost 100, 200 constructs. And many times, whatever you learned in Verilog, almost similar concept applies. You can't really change. Behavioral style of coding cannot be done changed with something else when you come to system Verilog. So a lot of design fundamentals don't change. Whereas when you come to verification, there is a significant change in how we can use system Verilog for verification purpose. Hence, our major focus will be on how system Verilog can be used for function verification. Of course, there is another aspect where there can be people, you can go to the market and find people who are only looking for system Verilog for design training also. Okay, but that will be very less, 1 out of 100. Mostly, system Verilog is used for what? Function verification. With that, we'll be starting the system Verilog for function verification course. So, what is the course prerequisites? You should be familiar with basic Verilog for design and verification purpose. Like you should be good with understanding of task and functions, arrays and vectors, like how to code a simple module, like module initial, those kind of things. The basic test bench coding. What is the? You should understand the intention of the test bench. Test bench for verification purpose. So two things we do. What are the two things we do in test bench? Generate the stimulus. Check the output. That is the thing you have to always remember. Then you should understand what is meant by test case. Then basic idea of operators. Let's say if I tell you tomorrow what is assignment operator, what is equality operator, what is logical operator, you should be a bit familiar with those terminology. Working knowledge of GVim or Notepad++. Any simulator, right? Model sim or EDA playground, you should have that comfort level. A course will consist of 16 assignments focused on practical uses of language constructs. This course is different from the main project. The system Verilog training itself gets divided into two, three aspects. So one aspect is only the language training. And this happens to be the most important thing because from a learning perspective, project is most important. The last project I'm talking is the most important. But from an interview perspective, this is important because when you go to interview, 80% of your selection decision happens based on what you are going to learn in next 7 weeks. 80% of your decision, I mean the selection process will be revolving around what you are going to do in next 6 to 7 weeks. So hence this period is very important for you. So we'll be going quick because there is a pressure. We are going very slow. So we don't want to be. So we'll be spending a lot more time. If someone is not able to cope up, they will repeat. That's the basic idea. Okay. So because 10 people are not able to cope up, I can't slow down to the 10 people level. So there will be evaluation test. Next. Material you'll get. Expectation is what? Complete assignments on schedule and be proactive in the sessions. Okay. So this agenda, let's not get too much into it because even if I read all this, you won't remember. So let's directly start off with the. Uh, okay. I think you all understand what is functional verification. Let's directly jump into system verification. Because me explaining this architecture test bench doesn't have much value addition today because we'll be talking about this test bench architecture as we go forward. So let's start from this slide or this slide. Let's take. With all this learning, what we are going to do over next 3 4 months, our intention is to develop this kind of test bench in a very efficient manner. Now, this is not part of the test bench. What is this? DUT. In Verilog, we are used to a coding style where we have DUT and we have a test bench. That's all. Only two elements are there. Understand? In Verilog, we are only used to a coding style. We have a DUT and test bench. Everything uh, other than DUT, test bench. If you remember interrupt controller, the processor behavior, clock and reset generation, the peripheral behavior, the interrupt handling, everything went into a test bench only. That approach is going to change when you come to online student. Please be in mute. That approach is going to change. See, Verilog is more like simple analogy, having a house with no walls, no rooms. Everything is done in the one single room, one very big room. I mean, the kitchen, dining, bedroom, everything is in one single room. That is like Verilog. Because in Verilog, everything is done in the same single module. What is meant by that? Driving, generating the inputs, generating the values, giving those values to the design, getting the outputs, printing the outputs, checking the things. Everything happens in one place. That is that is the problem. We don't want to do that because it doesn't give me flexibility. Imagine a house where everything is done in one big room. Now imagine a house where everything is divided into small rooms. Please be in mute. Online students, please be in mute. Please be in mute. What is the second approach? Everyone, please go into the mute. What is second approach? The room has been divided into smaller rooms based on their functionality. Like you know how house is partitioned, right? I don't need to tell you. The same way, what system Verilog promotes is divide the whole test bench into multiple smaller blocks based on what we need to do in that block. Let's say one of the things we want to do is scenario generation. You want to generate the scenario. You will generate the scenario at top level, the transactions, called as transactions. These transactions will be put into something called as mailbox. Going forward, you will see that mailbox is similar to flip-flop. Mailbox is similar to flip-flop. The BFM gets those transactions from the mailbox. BFM stands for bus functional model. Bus functional model. And it drives the stimulus, drives the signals. Since it is the design, it gives me actual output. It gives me the output. If I apply this input, what should be the output? It's what it gives me. The same input that you are driving to the design will be collected by this monitor. Will be collected by this monitor. It will give it to the reference model. You see the term reference model in the top. What is the reference model? Is the exactly equivalent replica of the DUT. DUT and reference model are both are same. Now, if you may ask if both are same, then why reference models? The DUT is developed by design engineer. Reference model is developed by verification engineers. There are two engineers involved. DUT is developed by who? Design engineer. Reference model is developed by verification engineer. So both of them got a specification, one document. The design engineer developed this thing. The verification engineer developed this thing with their understanding. They didn't refer to any of their codes. It's not like I opened that code, I copied, I opened that code. No. I just, based on my understanding, I developed design. It is done in which language? Mostly in Verilog. This can be done in any language as long as my simulator supports it, my compiler supports it. Like QuestaSim compiler supports which all languages? Verilog and System Verilog. So till System Verilog you can develop. QuestaSim doesn't support Java. QuestaSim doesn't support Java, so I can't develop it using Java. If tomorrow they come up with a advanced version of tool which supports Java also, then I can develop in Java also. There is no restriction. Now what happened if you look at the bigger picture? What happened? We applied an input. The same input is collected. Same input is given to reference model. What this is giving me? Actual output. AO means what? Actual output. Whatever comes from the DUT is the actual output, right? What comes from the test bench is what? Expected output. What you are expecting the output to be, what you expect, because this is something I developed. So whatever output comes, that is something I expect output to be. Then what you tell me, what do you think I should do with the expected output and actual output? I should do the comparison. Simple, right? I should do the comparison. Where do you do the comparison? Tell me in this hierarchy, where do you think you checker, right? So both the outputs are given to checker. Then you have a scoreboard. What is scoreboard? You all watch cricket. So what is scoreboard in cricket? How many wickets, how many scores, how many overs, run rate, right? Same thing scoreboard keeps track. How many transactions, how many mismatches, how many matches, how many uh, failures. Simple, not like a cricket, no statistics, graphical statistics, nothing. Simple, how many transactions, how many passed, how many failed. That level of thing. At the end of this, you would know when you run a test case, this scoreboard and checker will tell you whether the test case has passed, whether the test case has failed. When will it pass? Tell me, when will I say it passed? All the checks have passed. Let's say you got 10 transactions here, you got 10 here. All 10 has matched. Then can I say the test case has passed? If 9 has passed, 1 has failed. What should I say? No, it failed. That's all. There is nothing like half fail. There is nothing like 10% fail. There is a failure is a full failure. So fail will happen. So that would have failed. Now what we will do is we will again develop this test bench from scratch. What is that you notice in this diagram is there are around 8 types of components in this. One component for scenario generation, one component for BFM, driving the scenario, one component for monitoring purpose. One is monitor. Now the question comes, why monitor? Why can't I directly connect it here? Simple, right? Why monitor is required? I will just introduce you to the concept, but later you will understand it better. See what happens here is a signal level. Address separately, data separately, write read separately, selection separately, everything happens separately. By the time you reach here, everything happens at object level. See in C++, do you know classes? Class, packet, class, something you develop, class person, class employee, like that you might have done some basic programming in C++. So it goes to the class level. So it won't anymore be signal level, individual signal level. It will become transaction level. By the time you reach this level, it is transaction level. Here you are at signal level only. I mean, you are individually driving the address, you're individually driving the data, you're individually driving the enable, you're driving the selection pin, you're waiting for ready to happen. All that will not be involved here. When you reach here, the whole thing happens at a object level. The whole information gets captured as one object, and that object is what we process. Right now, just remember that much. What do you think monitor will be doing? See, I'll tell you one basic thing. Here it is signal level, here it is object level. Tell me what monitor is doing. Simple, right? It is capturing the signals and creating an object out of it. That's why monitor is required. Then you have what is the fourth type of component called as functional coverage. What functional coverage does is it keeps track of what scenario you have applied, what scenario you have missed. It keeps track of what you have applied, what you have missed. That is functional coverage. Then you have a something called as reference model. You know what is reference model? Same as duty, developed in Verilog. It is developed in what? System Verilog. Going forward, you will see that it will be developed in UVM also. Because when we learn UVM, it can be developed in UVM also. So this is the fifth type of component. Checker, sixth component. seventh component, eighth component. Okay. Then what else we have missed? Slave model. Now the question comes, what is slave model? Okay, we understood everything pretty much. What is slave model? What is slave model is, if I assume this to be keyboard controller, you remember, um, SPI controller. Let's assume this to be SPI controller. You all remember SPI controller, right? On one side, what will be there for SPI controller? Processor. On one side, what will be there? SPI slave. If I do SPI simulation without connecting anything on the slave side, will it work? I won't connect any slave. I will only connect the processor. What does processor do? Program the registers. What registers? Address registers, data registers, control registers. That is what I am actually doing here. Even in system Verilog, you are not going to do something else. Basic fundamental verification remains same. Let's say you did address register programming in Verilog, you are going to do address register programming in system Verilog. There is not, you are not going to change anything majorly. The structure of the test bench improves so much that your verification can be done very easily. So in Verilog, we used to connect something here, right? In test bench, we used to implement the slave model. You remember? MOSI comes, I collect MOSI, I collect the address, then I used to respond back with the data based on the writer read. Same thing I need my someone to do here also. If I don't keep it here, what is going to happen? I'm not going to get any response here. And there is no one to accept whatever I'm giving. That's what is called a slave model. That's why we need a. Is that clear? Then this is the what number? Ninth or eighth? Then what else you have? Register model. The 10th model. Let it be 10th one. So it is what? Okay. So test bench consists of almost 10 types of components. Now the best part here is our whole next 4 to 5 months of training is only about how do we develop these components. That's it. Whole verification, what we are going to learn, is all about how do you efficiently develop generator. How do you efficiently code BFM? How do you efficiently code monitor? How do you efficiently code function language? 5 months and 10 components. Isn't it very easy? Actually, very easy. Really, very easy because monitor is only hardly 40 lines of code. The biggest monitor we coded in the project in the whole institute is probably 60 lines of code. Biggest coverage we might have coded is around 70 lines. The biggest BFM we might have coded is 50 lines. So hardly we are talking about a code which is around 500 lines of test page. People get so much confused, they don't learn. Basic fundamental understanding you have to remember. It's very easy actually. So we will do that. This is the target for end of the course. Right now we are going to go with fundamentals, but that's the idea. What we are, where are we trying to reach? A place where you know how to develop generator, how to develop a BFM, how to develop coverage, everything. Right? Each of them is very obvious actually. The name itself is quite obvious. What do you want to do in the generator? You want to generate scenario. How do you generate scenario? BFM, what to do? That whole thing is very obvious. Okay. Going forward, we'll understand how this test bench architecture again can be developed from scratch. Now, given that this is test bench architecture, even Verilog can be used to develop this. Let me tell you again, we can use Verilog to do the same test bench development. But the problem is, Verilog is not good at that. Why it's not good is creating this. If it is Verilog, what this has to be developed as? Tell me. What is that? In Verilog, what is the keyword that will be used to implement this block?
Module.
Module. What is that I will use to connect this? Create module. Everything becomes a module. Okay. Uh, you are not going to exchange signals there. You are going to exchange something else. Full transaction information. You are going to exchange full transaction information. For that kind of requirements, Verilog is very bad. Actually. Where is Verilog good? Don't divide everything into multiple things. Just keep everything into one big place. Do everything modular. For that, Verilog is good. Generating scenario, driving scenario, collecting the outputs, checking the outputs, printing the result, generating clock, generating reset. Everything is done in one place. For that, Verilog is good. Whatever we are doing here is called as modularization. You might have heard modular kitchens, modular homes. What is modular homes? Nothing very complex. They divide the home into small areas based on what you want to do. Let's say modular home means study room becomes one separate portion. Right now, what we might do, we might sit in hall one place and study. We might play game in one part of the hall and play. What is modular home will become one place where you have a separate area for playing the games, one separate area for studying, all those things. Same thing we are doing. What we divided the whole test bench functionality into individual smaller blocks so that they become independent. I don't want one person who is studying to be disturbed by one person who is playing the game. Simple, right? Otherwise, what happens? They get disturbed. Same thing happens here. If you try to mix everything into one place, this can impact this one, this can impact this one. At a very rough level. Not that they will go and fight. There is a possibility that code can go wrong. So we are trying to avoid that by keeping it modular. What is simple modular means what? You want to generate a scenario. What is that I will use? I'll use scenario generator. I want to drive the scenario to the DUT. What I will use? DFM. I want to monitor the scenario. Monitor. Monitor will not do anything else other than monitor. It will only monitor and collect the transaction. I want to do the coverage collection. I want to generate the expected output. Reference model. I want to check everything. Check that. Simple. Like that, we develop, keeping them modular. And that is how the most complex programs are developed in the world. You go to big data, Hadoop, whatever, I don't know what is there in them also. But it must be developed only in the modular approach. There is no other way to develop a efficient code. What is modular means? Divide your whole functionality into smaller things, implement them. It makes many things easier because you can distribute this work into 10 people. And let all of them, you define them. Your responsibility is generator. He doesn't bother about what is BFF. He doesn't bother about what is monitor, what is reference model. He will develop BFF. We can integrate everything. If I develop everything in single place, what will happen? We can't do that, right? I can't code initial 10 lines. I can't ask other person to code next 10 lines. Whereas with this approach, it is possible. That's why you have to get used to this because whichever language you go, high level languages, they all eventually become modular. To create this kind of modular test bench, Verilog is not good. System Verilog has a concept called as object-oriented programming. That object-oriented programming is implemented for this purpose only, actually, because it gives me modularity. We use the classes, class generator, class BFM, class monitor. It makes sure that our whole test bench can be easily developed and easily integrated. Okay. How does it do? We'll discuss as we go forward. So just remember that Verilog is not good. Let's not read. I mean, this presentation is there. You can read this. Okay. Why Verilog is not good? Verilog is not meant for modular and reusability. Okay. Verilog is primarily developed for what? RTL coding purpose, design purpose only. Why Verilog is not good for test bench purpose? It doesn't have many features. Mostly has features which are meant for RTL coding, right? So hence Verilog is not good for test bench development. What system Verilog does is it introduces a lot of new concepts like object-oriented programming. It introduces new data types and new operators, new arrays, the concept of interprocess synchronization, the concept of functional coverage, interface program and clocking block, concept of fork join, the constraints randomization, assertions, DPI, lot of things. which makes the test bench development lot easier. Uh, UVM is an improvement over system Verilog. So what is improvement means? To take this diagram, what is that I said DUT? What is the example we took for DUT just now? SPI controller. Let's say if I change it to memory controller, my test bench structure remains same. If I change it to memory controller, the BFM doesn't go here, checker doesn't come here. BFM will continue to be here, checker continues to be there, and reference model continues to be there. Let's say I remove memory controller, I keep USB. Do you think scoreboard will come here? No. This structure remains same. So you see, even when you change the designs, my test bench structure doesn't say change. Lot of things remain same. So what industry has done is it has seen that observations that see test benches don't have lot of they have rather what industry has seen is what test benches have lot of things in common. They try to create some basic framework, base classes, what we call as base classes, which already implement the things for you, which implements the basic functionality. All you have to do is add new functionality specific to your requirements. That is what UVM does. That base classes, base framework is what UVM already does for you. So your coding effort reduces because you don't have to develop everything from scratch. In system Verilog, you have to develop everything from scratch. In UVM, you don't have to do because there is a base classes which have already been provided. That much is sufficient. Let's not get too much deep. Okay. Let's we have got a basic idea about what is test bench, what are the components, okay, what is meant by modularity. Okay. Now let us move on to the next topic, that is system Verla course objectives. Simple, you should be very good with language constructs. Okay. You should be able to develop a test bench from scratch. That's the basic idea. Why we need system Verla? First, let's understand why we need to learn system Verilog. You know, right? First thing is Verilog is not good at for test bench development. From a design perspective, what is happening is with every year, design complexity is increasing. Okay. 10 years, you know, right? I don't need to tell you. 10 years back, how the mobile phones used to be. Now, what is the mobile phones used to be? 10 years back, how the laptops used to be. How the laptops are. With every year, actually, there is an improvement. What is meant by improvement? More features, more complex features, more complex protocols. With all these things, we need to develop a more complex test bench. If the design is complex, our test bench also has to be complex, right? Do you agree? Right? You can't continue to have a simple test bench to verify a very complex design, which is easier to do with system builder because it has got more options to do the same thing. That is the first reason why we want to move to system builder, and that is the same reason why you want to move to UVM also, because it even reduces the time. It even reduces the time to do with UVM because already things are set up for you. What is the second thing? Time to market. What is meant by time to market? How quickly we can launch the product into the market. How quickly we can launch the product. See, whatever we are talking, let's say this mobile phone, before it became a mobile phone, it was an RTL code. It was a Verilog code actually. This design can be verified with Verilog itself. No need of system Verilog. Actually speaking, there is no need of the. If you think if there is no system Verilog, will can't we do chip manufacturing? No, it can be done. Only thing is, if I use Verilog for verification, it may take one full year. Same thing if I do with system Verilog, it may take 7 months. If I do with UVM, it may become 5 months. That is the reason why we are moving from Verilog to SV, SV to UVM. What is that is reducing it? Is there any magic? What is that? It has got more options. For example, I want to construct a house. Let's say I want to construct a wall. What is there in this wall? Bricks, cement, and the wooden windows, right? Whatever. If I start making cement myself, if I start making bricks myself, that is what you do in Verilog. Everything you do from scratch, everything. What System Verilog does? System Verilog provides you bricks. Tells you that use the bricks. System Verilog provides you with wood. Tells you use it. What UVM does? UVM gives you that frame also. UVM gives you that frame also. Directly use the frame. But you decide where to keep. See, shall I keep it top? No, right? I have to keep at the right position. So you need to learn where should it be kept. So that is how things change. Essentially, wall is wall, right? I mean, finally at the end, same thing it would have looked. But time taken is what is important. So that's what. Okay. That is called as time to market. It's not a complex term. When can you come out with the product? That's next. What? Better project management. What is meant by better project management? I mean, ability to track the project. How much verification I have done? Let's say tomorrow, today someone asks me how much course has done. I would say 15%, 20%. Why? Verilog and digital is done. So out of how much? Something. So that same in Verilog, it is difficult to do because Verilog doesn't give me any proper measure. When you come to system Verilog, there is something called as functional coverage, which makes it easy to tell. You can easily tell I'm done with 70% of my project. I am done with 80%. Like that, you can clear it. And one of the other important things in system Verilog is it is very easy to reuse the existing code. You can easily reuse the existing code, all because of the concept of object oriented. If you ask in one line, in one word, what is the difference between Verilog and system Verilog? The object oriented programming is the difference. And we will be spending a significant time understanding what is object oriented. Running system Verilog code using questions. Same process. Like you used to run verilog.top.sv, top.v, or tb.v. Here you run tb.sv. No difference at all. Everything else remains same. You all know what is work library. You all know what is compilation, elaboration, wave, adding to the wave, and simulation. The same thing applies here. You all know how to create do file, run.do, and what is the other do file? Wave.do. Same concept applies here. Nothing different. So I'm not going to go deep into it. Next, system Verilog language concepts. Let's not get into it. My point is, let's directly jump because even if I teach, it doesn't immediately add much value addition. When it comes here, I'll explain that point. System Verilog basics. You should understand how to define a function, how to use a function. Can you define a function? Sum, which takes two integers, p comma q, and returns integer r. Returns integer. That's all. Can you please do that, everyone? I want you to define a function sum, which will do this. Everyone done? Let C equal to A plus B. Input will be C will be input. Is this what you learned? Is this what you learned? Will you write input first or integer first? Can you write a function without a return type here? Is this what you learned in Verilog? Huh? Is this what you learned? Again, is this what you learned? Is this negligence? What is the global? What is the difference? You don't know how to define. I mean, you please repeat the data. This way you can't do this. No, this is, I mean, unacceptable. You can't even write a basic function, then how can you continue with the system? There is a function. Then, if you can't do, don't join the system. Don't join the system. Don't join. If you can't do, don't join. I'm again telling everyone, you will suffer. I mean, if you can't write this and if you continue the system with luck, you can't cope up. Telling if you can't do this basic thing, I told you the same thing. We have done 100 things in Verilog. I kept on repeating that one basic thing, people fail. This is one basic thing. This should have been the most basic thing you should have done. Right? If you can't do, please don't do. Okay. Those attending online, please post the answer in the chat window. I see only 38 responses. So will you repeat? Very long. Then when will you learn? I mean, should I give you 2 years time to learn basic Verilog also? So why can't you write basic function? Then what did you do for last 3 months? We did Verilog for almost 2.5 months. What did you do? So he is writing input beat. You can't even write input beat here. Where is beginning? So my sincere suggestion is, if you can't do this, you ask yourself, am I able to do this? If you can't do it, don't continue with system Verilog. You will not learn anything out of it. Because things will be at least 50 times more complex than this. Things will get 50 times more complex than what I'm asking you to do. If you didn't learn in Verilog, system Verilog, you are not going to catch. I'm not discouraging you. Repeat another 2 months or another 1 month, learn better and continue. Someone is doing tick define, someone is doing define. What should I tell that person? Because he's not defining. Come on. Maybe you may be feeling bad, but I should also feel bad, right? Because after all that effort, after giving all the notes and everything, people ask every day notes, 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 video, video, video. What is that you learn then? Okay. Please take your decision. Verilog is again happening. You rejoin Verilog if you are not good. Okay. I'm repeating 10 times because it should go into your mind that it's not about completing the course, it's about learning the things properly. Tomorrow, same question will be asked. I keep telling the same thing in my Verilog training also. They will ask you same question in interview. They are not going to ask you very complex question. By that, they can judge you how much you are good with the basics. Simple. What is the expectation? Function, integer, add. Input integer A, input integer B. Add equal to A plus B. That was begin end is missing, of course. I should write begin end. In system Verilog, we don't write add equal to A plus B. We write return A plus B. Then how to use this function? If I have P, Q, or anything, A, B, C, D, you write P equal to add Q comma R. This is the basic expectation. Let us say I have this function. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more thing. Okay. Function, integer, sum, input integer A, comma, input integer B. So this is the function. Now I won't show the code because you know how the code goes. Let's say I have two integer arrays. Integer array of 1, 5 elements are there. Another integer array with 5 elements. Another integer array with 5 elements. I want to add integer A plus integer B and keep the results to integers. I've done the same thing, exactly the same thing in Verilog. Again, I'm going to check everyone. Those who are going to post the answer in the chat window, I'm going to check. Okay, I'll do one thing. Take 2 minutes. Okay, I will be giving one link in the online group because please do not post the answer in the chat window. Someone will copy and post it. Okay, please upload your answer to that window. That those who are in classroom, you can code it and show me. I'm going to make a note. Who don't do well, I will not allow you to go to very long system. Again, I'm telling you, I'm going to ask you five questions now. If you don't do well, I will not allow you. Please do that. Please do not post the answer in the chat window. Okay. I sent the link in the group for the online students. Okay. Please fill that. Question is very simple. I have integer array int array 5, that is 4 down to 0. This also 4 down to 0. This also 4 down to 0. So what I want to do, I want to add the using this function sum. Function sum is there. Using that, I want to add this array with this array and store the result into ints. Simple, right? Nothing complex. I want you to tell me how you are going to use the functions. Again, I am telling, please do not post an answer in the chat window. I am not going to count it because this assessment will go to your company. What happened is last time, 60 people underwent training. Out of them, 20 people don't know basics also, and they went through everything. So we don't want that to happen. We'll be assessing. I will be expecting everyone to respond. If you don't respond, that means it is treated as you don't know. Simple, nothing complex. If after all this explanation, if you didn't understood, means it's not worth continuing further with the system because I have been very clear. Add integer array 1 with array 2 and store it into integer array 3. It cannot be more simpler than this, my explanation. I'll be asking another 5 questions, totally 5 or 6 questions. Based on that, we'll assess.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please tell me.
Sir, do you need to write all the whole code or only function?
Only function.
Okay, sir.
No, there is no function actually here. Function is already there. You have to write a code which will do that, which will call the function to do that. You have to
Okay,
do
sir.
the function invocation. You have to do the function invocation. Invocation means what? Calling the function.
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Please note, feedback will be conveyed as it is to your company. Okay, because I don't keep any personal connect that, oh no, let me give positive feedback, not like that. If person is not able to do basic thing, I'll tell that this person is not up to the mark. Okay,
Hello.
because yeah, please tell me.
Yes, sir. Actually, the problem statement is like a function sum is already created. Now we want to store in integer c the sum of integer a and integer b. There already exists a function sum.
This function already exists. Use
Okay,
that
okay, sir.
function
Got
to
it.
do the addition of these two arrays into integer arrays. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Amit,
Got it.
just
Got it.
do me WhatsApp on this number. Or you can give me your email ID, Amit. Amit Kumar, please post your email ID. Anyone else? I think others are able to copy. 2 minutes. Another 2 minutes should be good. Actually, this requires only 1 minute because if you have gone through the whole Verilog for 2 months, 1 minute is good enough. Define a link you won't get anywhere, Siddha. Here only I have posted the link here only. The here only I have posted the link. Posted right somewhere. I have two integer arrays. Okay. Int A, int B. Again, both are size 4000. Write logic to copy int B contents to int A. Write logic to compare int B contents with. This is the second question. The second question. So I'll give that question and post the question. I got only 19 responses.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, please tell me. You are asking some questions.
Yes, sir. Before the third question, I have posted second question. Then I need to write
No,
second
you
question?
resubmit, resubmit, no problem, resubmit it. Anyway, I can filter it. I can filter it. Right now, don't submit. Just keep it. You have submitted.
Yes, I have submitted second question.
Yeah, everyone submit first question, please. Everyone, please submit first question now. Now you submit first question. Doesn't matter. Well, second question you can wait.
First question or write a logic for add to array, na? Second question.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, then I have submitted that one.
Yeah, please submit.
And third question, do I not need to submit right now?
If you are done with that question, also you submit it.
Okay, then it will be override or not? That because
Once,
this is the same link.
Sir, hello, sir.
yeah, please tell me.
Sir, in third question, I mean, like you asked to wrote the logic for copy and compare. Do we
Yeah,
have to write the code using functions, or simply we can use a for loop logic?
you can use
If
for loop logic. You can write in for
okay,
loop logic.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Please be in mute. Those attending online, please be in mute. There is no separate link for third question. The same link has been updated. I think if you just refresh that Verilog assessment, you'll get the third question also. The third question means what? This one. Copying the contents and comparing the contents. All this I'm asking because this have been covered in Verilog. Next question. Nothing. I'm not. I'm interested in the core functionality. I'm interested in seeing what you are going to develop core functionality. This is the next question.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, sir, in that link, it shows a two question. I already submit first question's answer, so I just
Submit
post the
again.
second. Okay,
What I'm telling is,
okay, again
submit the
paste
whole
it.
form. Submit the
Okay,
whole form again. I can filter and I can remove the duplicates.
okay, sir.
For me, it's 1 minute job to remove the duplicates. Just whenever you submit, use the same email ID. So I'll remove the duplicate submission and I'll take the latest one. Even now, I see only 21 responses. I asked people to submit how many? If there are 97, they should have done 97 and accept the 12 people here. Okay. So question. Okay. Radhika, you are on the call. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Srinivas.
Yeah. See, what I'm doing is we have started with system Verilog language training today. Okay. I
Yeah.
have given 3 questions to them. I'm doing the assessment, live assessment to them. Okay. I have
Okay.
created one Google form. I have created one Google form, and I'm asking them some questions to submit. There are
Mm-hmm.
almost 76 participants from Scalage, and this includes the participants from other also. Our own students also will be there, another 5 6. This is the level
Okay.
of participation we have from Scalage. And see, what I'm asking is a very simple questions. If you ask anyone, what I'm asking is a very basic questions, and
Mm-hmm.
this constitutes of 10% of what I thought, and these people don't participate. So I'm involving you because you think that you have a different idea of what we teach, but you have to see what is the participation from the participants. These are the very basic questions, and they are not able to answer them. So you tell me what should I do? I have 26 responses, and many of them will be repetition also.
Srinivas, how many people have joined the session?
Around 70 plus would have joined from Scalage, at least 70 to 73
Okay.
out of all that. So let me see the Scalage. If I'll just filter it out.
Sir, have you sent the link for the fourth question as well? The last question?
If you just refresh it, it will work. Just refresh it. Isn't it working? If you refresh it. Yeah. So you see here, if I just filter it by the name of the company, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 people are participating actively. So I will give you these names. Can you please take it forward how to? This way,
Please share your name, Srinivas.
let me tell you, this way it's very difficult for me to teach.
I
I'm
understand.
involving you in the live session so that you can see the participation level. I don't want to create any scene or anything here. I mean, any absurd
No,
scenario,
I
very
understand, absolutely
uncomfortable
understand
situation.
from your end, Srinivas. Yeah, I understand from your end, but I need to see, where is this lag? Did we communicate to all of these engineers stating that we
You
have
see, we have been having a concerns, right? We are going slow in Verilog. You
Mm-hmm,
remember,
mm-hmm.
we should have
Yeah.
ideally completed Verilog 2 3 weeks back itself, easily 3 weeks back. Now, why we slowed down is we wanted to give them enough time to practice assignments, learn everything. I keep telling them, don't memorize it, understand the basic concept. What I asked really is 10% very basic level of Verilog. If these people can't come up to that level, they can't learn system Verilog properly. Again, you see, after all that discussion, again 40 only responses. So yeah, how do we take it forward?
This is a news for me, Srinivas. In fact, I'll have to talk to my people internally and then talk to the interns and then get back to you, Srinivas.
Yeah. So please
Probably
do
after this
some
next
tough
session.
decision making. Please do
Sorry.
some tough
Yeah,
decision making because
I'll do
this
that.
way
I'll do that,
I
Srinivas.
have been putting. I mean, you ask anyone, I have been giving. We have been giving our. I mean, I won't say I because our team,
Mm-hmm.
Naveen or Manas or Kaushik, they have been doing their job also, spending making sure that these
Mm-hmm.
people do the assignments. These people uh, are given guidance to each and every question also in the assignment. After all this, if they don't come up, I don't have a solution.
I
Why I'm
understand.
here?
I
You
seriously understand from
remember
your
our
end.
you remember our discussion last week? Where is it
Yes, yes,
going? Is it
yes,
on the training
yes,
side? I'm showing you the live
yes.
example.
Yeah. In fact, I was not part of this, this training session here with 75 batches. But however, the previous batch, the previous interns that we were talking about, right? There were tremendous improvement when I compare to the last week's and this week's performance. But let me just get a hand on this, and I shall definitely get back to you on the Srinivas. I'll have to understand where we lag.
Please you can call for another 10-15 minutes. I'm going
Yeah,
to ask even simpler questions, very
yeah.
simpler questions also. Let's see how much they participate.
Sure, sure. I'll be online. Yeah.
Get a function. Is the next question. Write a function which implements 5-bit full adder, 5-bit full adder functionality using single function only. No need to use two functions. Can you please do that? Again, this is a very basic question. We might have repeated the same question 5 to 6 times. 5 to 6 times I would have repeated right during many. Okay. So I'll post this
Sir,
question.
yes,
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
sir, I
Can you
already
send the link
submitted
on
two and
WhatsApp, sir?
What I'm telling you, submit everything again. Submit everything again. Whenever you resubmit, submit all the 4 questions. It's just a matter of posting, copy pasting for a few seconds, right? Please do that. I mean, we are waiting because we want quick response because I want to see the I want to show the participation level. So we don't have to wait for another half an hour for you to submit everything. As and when you are done, you keep submitting, keep submitting. I can filter it out easily. See, I can go here. I'll just filter out the email IDs. I have the duplicate part. I have the duplicate things I can remove, right? So please do that, everyone.
Hello, sir.
Right? Yeah.
Sir, still I do not get the mail. Sir, can you send the link on
I have
WhatsApp?
sent to your email. See, what I'm telling is,
But still
if
I
100
do
people
not
are
get.
able to access, what I'm telling is, if 100 people are able to access in the chat window, you should also be able to copy. You otherwise you have friends in Skeletons, right? You just talk to them, ask them to just send it to you. Or
Sir,
let's say
can
I'm
you
sending
send
it
in
right.
WhatsApp, sir? WhatsApp group.
No, no, I've sent it again. Please check it in the chat window.
Sir, I am not getting to copy, sir. That's why I'm telling you.
Okay, fine. I'll send it in WhatsApp to you. See, you have given your email ID wrong. How can it come? You have given SCL Edge. You should have given Scale Edge. If you give wrong email ID, how can you get? You may be seeing disappointment in my voice because it is very rightly I am disappointed because you are not properly doing.
Already I sent the on chat window only.
Whatever email ID you send is wrong. What I am telling you. Amit dot
Okay,
what you said.
okay, sir,
Yes,
Sir,
got it.
can you
hello?
post again? This is what you have given. Scale Edge. You should have given SCL.
Sir,
Sir?
Please tell me.
Sir, for question number 2, please remove the required question, that thing, because without
Right. I mean,
entering that we cannot.
it is required. It is required to submit. You write, I don't know the
Sir,
answer.
we have submitted already, but it is
What
still
I'll do is
showing.
resubmit. Resubmit and then please resubmit each and every question. When you submit again, resubmit everything again. Simple. You
So
have to
when we are
copy paste.
resubmitting,
But
the old
sir,
question got the old answer got disappeared.
old answer is disappearing actually.
How
Yes,
to
sir.
hold second? How can it? I mean, it's just long. You take a new link again. You again resubmit everything. Refresh it and submit it. Isn't it possible that way? Are you
Sir,
seeing any
actually,
issue
what
with
we
that?
submitted that has disappeared, sir. Actually, what we have submitted.
Actually, some of us
It
were
is
writing directly on the form.
yeah.
Yes, sir. So we have submitted
No,
4 questions. When then we have submit the link, when we are again opening the like all the answers got disappeared.
no. See what you do. Don't write the answer in the Google window here. Write it in a GB window. Then paste it. Right? You should never be dependent on the links, right? Because link can refresh anytime and your solution can always go. You should be writing the answer in the GB window, and that is what you have been taught to do. I have never thought to do anything in browser. Did I teach any time to do coding in browser? Did I teach any time? Where we have done 100 codings? GB. Why? You get syntax. It is easy to use. It is easy to copy paste. So where you should have been doing coding? If you haven't done that, you please redo it again. Very simple question. There can't be simplest question than what I'm talking about. A simple 5-bit full adder, single function. This is the last question. One second. Simple 2-bit full adder using 1-bit full adder. That's all. In a structural modeling style. What is structural modeling style? You know, right? Again, I'm telling everyone, please submit each and every answer when you do submit. Now, when you submit, you can submit every answer because I will be filtering it out. So when I take this thing, I'm going to filtering out. See, no, everyone has done okay. Santosh has done 2 times. I'll remove first entry for him. So I'll only give the last entry. So that's what I'm going to do. Please take next 5 minutes time. 5 minutes is good enough for us to do this. All this activity actually is good. Why it's good enough? Because we have done complex things like interrupt controller, complex things like SPI. Do you remember now? Do you understand why I didn't teach I square C? Do you all get why I didn't teach I square C purposefully? Why we didn't teach watchdog timer? You understand now the statement? This is because most of the people don't catch up the basics also, even after repeating so many times. That's the reason. Purposefully, we have cut down the things so that you focus on limited things only. Hello Radhika, I think another 5 minutes we will have the final submissions. After that, I will close the submission window. Then you
Sure,
can
sure,
assess. I will give you
sure,
the report. So you
sure.
please do the assessment internally and let's come up with a conclusion how to handle this scenario.
Definitely. I'll do that, Srinivas.
Online students, please be in mute. Online students, please be in mute. If you have a question, please unmute, ask, then you go to mute. Another 3 minutes we have time. So after that, we will stop and we will also stop the Google form closing submissions.
Sir?
Yeah,
Sir?
please tell me. Yeah, please
Sir,
tell
I
me.
mean, fifth question you gave that like no implement 5-bit full adder using single function.
Yeah.
Do I need to use the function method to implement it, or run a
Question itself,
simple?
question itself is write a function, right? Now, if you ask me, should I use the right function method? You do based on your understanding. Question can't be
Okay,
more simple than this.
okay.
And then I said, don't use multiple function, use single function. It must be very clear to you. If you didn't understood, let's leave it. Don't do it at all. You all agree, right? These all things were covered in initial few weeks of training only, not like towards 2 months. And we gave you 10 days gap also. In 1 week, proper division, proper gap, 5 days. Then we did Linux also. During that time also, you had to revise. Right? No 5 minutes thing here. It is sufficient. Whatever time I gave, that is sufficient, more than sufficient to do. If you go to interview, they won't wait for half an hour. Okay, let me give me half an hour. And nobody will wait because these are all very basic questions. And let me tell you, this activity started already 20 minutes back, 20 or half an hour back. Now, after half an hour, we are here. By now, you should have done. Please do the submissions in a minute, everyone. I will be stop accepting the responses now. Another 1 minute, okay. Hello, Radhika. So I'll be
Sir,
sending this list. No, we'll stop. We'll
sir,
stop.
I submit. Sir, I submitted, but it refresh. So, sir, please check my response is submitted or not, sir. Sir, Buddhi Prakash, sir, please. Sir, please check, sir.
Sir, one more question added while submitting.
Let it be the case.
Yes,
Let it
sir.
be the case.
Sir, I also have submitted, so please check Abhilash, sir.
Let it be. Let it be. Now, see, I can't
Sir,
check
while
all
submitting
90.
other question,
Whatever is your best, we'll take it. See, if you have done submission, take it. Let's stop this.
Sir,
We'll
while
further.
submitting, it is showing one more question.
Please just open it for 1 minute, sir. We'll submit once again.
Yes, sir. Please, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Again, half a minute, I'll stop. I mean, now I don't want to play like half a minute, 10 seconds like that. There has to be a time where someone has already submitted. You should have a fair chance, right? What is fair chance? He has already submitted it and he doesn't have time to again resubmit. So that's a fair chance. We'll stop it in few seconds. Sorry. I've just opened the window.
Sir, please check Amuda Ajay Kumar, sir. I have submitted,
No,
but it is
I can't check
showing no.
individual. I can't check individual. I can't check individual. Everyone, please don't ask me. Please check Akash. Please check Abhilash. Please check Abhishek. Please don't do that. If you have done it, it would have come. It's a basic, simple form only, right? Okay, we'll close it here. Uh, Radhika, can you please give me the email ID? I can just send it to you.
Yeah, that is Radhika, RADHIKA .s at scalage.in.
Dot K, is it? This is correct. You can just message me
Sir, I
otherwise.
submitted, but
Sir, I was about to submit, but you
No,
stopped
don't
the
submit it. Don't submit it. Now don't submit it. Let it be like that only. Ra-
Yeah,
Radhika, can you please message your email ID because I'll check it. I don't. I want to just
yeah, that is
Radhika.
Radhi.s
Radhika
at scalage.in.
dot okay. Dot
Yeah,
s. Okay. Okay. I took now.
correct, correct.
Dot s. Hello, Radhika. I have sent you both the questions
Sure.
as well as the spreadsheet. So if you show it to any of your technical person, he will be able to assess exactly the
Exactly.
performance.
I
Yeah.
understand.
So yeah. So we can discuss in the evening further. Same day. I
Definitely.
want to we
Yeah,
so that tomorrow what is the plan? How to go about?
yeah, I'll do that, Srinivas.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Now you
Thank
can,
you.
if you wish, you can
Yeah,
log off.
Srinivas. Thank you very much. Yeah. I'll get back to you. I'll talk to you in the evening, Srinivas.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Next.
So let us take a break for 10 minutes, then we'll continue. No, wait. In the meantime, online students, you can.
This conference will now be recorded.
So by now you would have understood that working with arrays, working with arrays, how to declare basic arrays, everything is very very important. Even during Verilog training, I would have stressed it many times that every day you will be working with arrays. Learn how to write arrays, okay? How to use arrays. The same context again we are repeating here. Here also arrays become very important. So that's where what we will do is, you have already understood how to write a simple function add input integer a, input integer b, add a plus b. If integer p, q are given, how to call that? P equal to add q comma r. The same function in system Verilog, it is possible to write output ints. In Verilog, it doesn't allow. Verilog, there is no option for giving output argument. Here you can give output in C. You can write C equal to a plus b. So this is all pure system Verilog, okay, not Verilog, because in Verilog this wouldn't have been possible. I have to always write add equal to. Then what is that I am trying to show you here? If my function is like a, b, c, I have to pass q or p in the arguments. I can't write p equal to add of q comma r. I can't do that. I have to write add q or p. That we have to write. Understand the point. In both the cases, we are doing the same thing, adding q comma r. Here also adding q comma r. The way function is called is different. The way function called is here is. Do you see the difference? Next. In system Verilog, begin is not required. Next. I can give void actually. In system Verilog, the return tab can be void. I mean, if you don't want to return anything, return is void. Void means blank, right? That blank, instead of writing blank, we write void. Now, between this and this, what is the difference? Tell me. Output is first in the list, then inputs are there. In that case, I would write add pqr. See, here I was doing what? Add qrp. Here I am doing what? So you have to understand how the function has been defined and how you have to call. Blindly, you should not write add q or pqr, because pqr is alphabetical. P comes first, q comes next, r comes next. You should not write pqr. You have to understand in what order output is there, in what order input is there. That's what. In the same context, connection can be done. This connection is called as what? Connection by position. This connection is called as what? Connection by name. In connection by name, you can write in any order. Clear? This is what I wanted to explain. Next. So let us start with some basic concepts of system Verilog. Arrays. Okay. Arrays in system Verilog are two types: static arrays, dynamic arrays. Even before that, let's do even more simpler classification of arrays. Arrays in system Verilog are packed arrays, packed arrays and unpacked arrays. Actually, packed arrays are vectors in Verilog. Exactly same. Exactly same. Whatever you call vector in Verilog, in system Verilog, what do we call it as? Packed arrays. And whatever we call array in Verilog, what we call in system Verilog? Unpacked arrays. So you know how vectors and arrays work in Verilog, right? The same concept. Nothing, no difference. Absolutely no difference. Some basic differences, some very simple differences. Let's say in Verilog, you have to always write integer array 4 down to 10. Compulsory. You have to write both the dimensions. In system Verilog, just write 5, it will automatically take. It will be treated as 0 down to 4. Both are same, essentially same. It will treat it as 0 down to 4, as if you have declared integer array with 0 down to 4. This is one classification. So right now we won't touch upon it. We'll talk later about packed arrays and unpacked arrays. Let us now get into one more classification of arrays. In system Verilog, there is a classification called as static arrays and dynamic arrays. Static arrays are fixed size arrays. Whatever you have studied in Verilog, Verilog only supports fixed size arrays, that is static arrays. Verilog doesn't have a concept of dynamic array. Verilog doesn't have a concept of dynamic array because everything in Verilog is static in nature. What is meant by static in nature is, it's like I'll tell you what is static. This room has 30 chairs. Whatever happens, this will continue to only have 30 chairs. Even if 5 people are there, 100 people are there. That means room is static in nature. What is dynamic in nature means, if 10 people comes, I'll keep 10 chairs. If 20 people comes, I'll keep 20 chairs. If another 10 people go out, I'll remove the 10 chairs. That is dynamic. Which approach is better? First approach or second approach? Second approach. Why it is better? We are able to utilize the chairs properly. Earlier, what was happening? The memory was getting wasted. When chairs were getting wasted, or some or other thing was happening. Clear, right? With the dynamic approach, what happened? We were able to allocate. We are able to use the chairs as required. We don't need to use all 30 chairs. We'll only use 5 chairs if required. We'll add another 10 chairs. That means dynamic. You're able to increase the number of chairs, reduce the number of chairs. Do we have chairs in Verilog system? No. That is memory spaces. You can increase the memory space allocated. You can decrease it. Dynamic arrays are again multiple types. One of the type itself is dynamic array. Second is queue. Third is assisted. We'll discuss more about all these things. Okay. Now let us get into static arrays. Size is allocated at compile time. So what is about static arrays is, if I tell that this room is a static room, even before the classroom starts, how many chairs will be there? 30 chairs, fixed. That's what makes it static. There is no provision after class starts to bring in 5 chairs, to bring out 5 chairs. That means compile time. That's called as compile time. I mean, once the room has been defined, it has been defined with 30 chairs. What is dynamic is, when someone opens that room, no chairs are there. What? No chairs. Now 10 people you want to accommodate, what you will do? You will get 10 chairs. Another 10 people want to come. What will you do? Another 10. That is dynamic. So for a dynamic array, no memory at 0 time. When you compile, zero chairs. As you start adding more people, you get more chairs. That is dynamic nature. That is something system Verilog only supports. Verilog doesn't support it. So size is allocated at, for static arrays, size is allocated at compile time. It can't be changed during the runtime. So how do you do declaration? 9 down to 0, 2 down to 7. Is it possible? 2 down to 7? Yes. It's possible. Right. Let's do one assignment. Everyone. Okay. Declare an array of word data type. Word is what? Reg 15 down to 0. Array size of 10. Fill it with random numbers between 20 to 30. Can you please do that, everyone? Everyone, please do one thing. Those who are attending online, you have a drive link where you have assessment. You have got one Google Drive link, right? Everyone, right? So I want you to, whatever you develop code here, I want you to create one document like this. If I go here, please, those in classroom, please continue.
Sir, if possible, can you paste those assignment questions in chat, sir? Chat window?
No. You can post in chat window. But what I want you to do is, let's say I go to any specific folder. So you create one folder called as, let's say I went to this folder. Okay, you create one folder called as, let's say you went to system Verilog. You create one folder called as live class Google Docs. Everyone, you should be able to do, right? Because you have the permission, right? Now you don't ask me how should I do. Please don't ask me how should I do. Okay, create a sheet in class questions. It can be classroom notes, classroom questions. Classroom questions, any name, just create a file by name what? Classroom questions. What you are going to do here? Question name is what? A rough question, right? Declare a array of word. Keep the answer. That's all. For me, I just by seeing your answer, I can assess what you have done. Don't waste your time writing the full question, all that. Just write the answer, that is sufficient. I want to see how many people participate. These all links are with your company. These all links are with institute admin. They will be assessing. If you don't do anything, there will be a corresponding action. I don't know what is that action, but we have to participate. You have to participate. Just sitting calm in the class and not doing anything doesn't solve the purpose. Finally, someone takes a blame, and all the blame comes to me if you don't do at all anything. So hence we are doing this measure where you have to maintain this document. If you don't create that document itself, we'll tell to your company that people are not even creating a document. Okay, and I'll be giving the answers also many times. But I want to see how much at least you have basic seriousness to do the coding. Whatever you do, you got it right. You have a drive. You go to system Verilog. Now, what is the name of that folder? Classroom questions. I should, if I go to anybody's folder and just open classroom questions, I should see what they have done. You can put a date. Today is what? 24th of June. Tomorrow, let's say we have 25th June. It's not a big effort. Tell me I will be wasting half an hour on that. No, right? Copy pasting takes 5 minutes of additional time. You just keep your link open. As and when you are done, you just keep posting it. At least I will know how much do you participate in the session. Please do it now, this question. So then I won't be interested in chat response. And if you do, that's good. But for me, more important is what you do in classroom participation, that Word document. Those in classroom, I can check what you're doing. But it's mostly for online participants. If you are done, please move on to the next questions. Next question are also straightforward, right? You write page 15 of this. What is that? I said declare an array of word data. What is word? That's 15 of this. Array of word data type. Word becomes the data. Reg is not the data. We have to do some improvement. See, everyone is getting confused with the question. It's a simple question. Word data type. I will explain what is word. Basic data type. So, what you should be declaring? Reg 50. It's the data type. It is the data type. What I want you to declare an array. It can be int array, anything. It can be anything. Now let it not be int array, vector array, reg vector array. Actually, it's a reg vector array, right? Reg vector array. What is the size of that array? 9. This is what I want. Right. Please continue. How to do the first question? Fill this with initial, begin, end, for loop, meet I equal to 0. So system Verilog allows I to be declared there itself. No need to write int I separately. And system Verilog has a int data type. Int is also there, integer is also there, short int is also there. In fact, I can use here. Why I would use it will reduce the memory uses. Int will require 32 bits, short int will require 16 bits. I less than what? 10. I plus plus. No need to write I plus 1. Just write I plus plus. System Verilog supports that. Verilog doesn't support it. What I have to do? Reg vector array of I equal to dollar u
Random
random
range 20, 30.
20 30. Declare another array of word data type, same thing. Array of size, fill it with again random number between 20 to 30. Again, what do you want to do? Let's declare another array. Array 1. It's the same type of array. Code will be same. Sorry? Word data type is same thing. I've written word itself I've defined range 15 not 0. Because once I define, you should understand word means what. Nibble is how much? Byte is what? Wait. Word is not English word. Word is not English word. Word is what? 16. Verilog word. Verilog word is 16 bits. Double word is what? 30. Something like that. Okay.
32.
So you got it. Now what is the next question? Write a logic to compare elements of the both arrays. Write a logic. How will you write a logic to compare?
If
Again, you
plus
have to
if of word of a not
actually
equals
we can just directly do reg vector array is equal to
rich vector array
it is possible.
not
System Verilog supports it. System Verilog supports it. Verilog doesn't support it. In Verilog, System Verilog you can do whole array comparison. It automatically compares 0th element with 0th element, first element with first element, second element with second element. Whereas in Verilog, it's not possible. In Verilog, what I have to do, I have to write a for loop, something like this. I have to do.
Dollar
Can you say dollar display
equal
uh, percentage D, percentage 0 D index match?
Yes,
Else,
sir.
yeah,
Sir, in the declaration, we can write directly 10 instead of 9 down to 0 if it is system Verilog, as you said.
get it where is the declaration? You can do that.
Line number two.
I said you can do that.
Okay, sir. Okay.
I'm commenting it out because this is very long. So rather, what should I do? Into whole compare. Please be in mute. Please be in mute. Please be in mute. Online student. Oh, sorry. Here I should have written I. The problem with this approach is it won't tell you which indexes are mismatching, which index are matching. It will tell you the whole array match or whole array mismatched. If you want to do element by element basis, you have to do this. If you are okay to compare whole array to whole array, you go with this. The Verilog doesn't support this. Whatever I just now highlighted, Verilog doesn't support. Verilog only supports the above commented one. Clear? I can run this example now. No difference from Verilog compilation, same as what is there in Verilog.
So does it support series?
Sorry?
Does it support seed? SV?
SV doesn't support C. Questa sim will compile C if you have a GIS. There is some concept called as DPI where it's
Sir, in the GVM shortint is not highlighted.
means your syntax is not updated. Your syntax is only using Verilog syntax. What you have to do? You have to go to this folder, Verilog system, Verilog syntax. Somewhere here, you have to download. They would have given the guidelines. Just have to follow that. Please try that. If you are not able to get it, tomorrow we'll support. Is that clear? You have to download this. Once you download, it will have some folders. FTP, FTT, indent, syntax, three folders. You just have to copy those three folders into your .vim RC folder. You have to follow these guidelines. Here it's there. Exactly. And you should be able to do without my dependence because you should become independent. Now it's 3.5 months done. Now you should be becoming independent. Clear? Now if I run this, mismatching. Of course, they will mismatch, right? Because randomly you are generating both arrays, they will mismatch. If you want to display, why the mismatch is happening, reg vector array equal to percentage p. This is a special type of print which is not there in Verilog. What it will do is it will print whole thing at once. You have to write a for loop to display each and every element. You can display whole array at once. Can you see? First element is matching 23. Is the second element matching? So you understand what is percentage P? Percentage P stands for packed printing. Packed printing means at once it will pack and print.
Hello, sir.
Declare, yeah.
short int, long int, do we need to is that mandatory? Short int, long int, or we write only int? We can write only int.
You can only write int. Since
We
people
can
are
also
getting
write.
let it be int only.
Okay.
Now let's in the same question, let's do one more thing. Copy second array to first array, then do comparison. Copy the second array to first array, like reg array 1 to reg array, then do the comparison. Can you please do that? I will give you one hint here. Please listen to me. System Verilog supports whole array copy. Understand plain English? In Verilog, you have to do element by element basis copy. System Verilog supports whole array copy. Now please do it. So let me show you how to do that. How to do that? Copy. H vector array. That is called as whole array copy. The whole array can be copied to another array. Now how to do the comparison? 20 to 27. Why 7? Now what should happen? Matching or mismatching? Matching should happen, right? Because both are copied same. Become matching. Let's do the next question. Declare an array of string data type. String data type. Array size of 10. Assign elements names with string 1 to string 2. Let me do it and show you. Because we need to introduce a new concept called as $s format here. String array. We are trying to learn how the system Verilog has improved the things. How the things improve when we go from Verilog to system Verilog. I'll copy the same int array right now. Code wise. What do I want it to be? String. So in Verilog there is no string data type. String array, string array underscore. Now, what I want to do is I want to give the names as str1, str2, str3 up to str10. So what we are going to do? String array equal to $s format str percentage 0t comma I. Let's understand what does it do. S stands for dollar stands for what? What does dollar stand for? System
System
task.
function or task.
What does S stands for? Here string. Format stands
String
for format the string.
change
F stands for
change
function. Function.
function.
What you are telling is you format the string. Replace percentage 0t with what? Value of I. Value of I. Value of I. Not I. Replace with the value of I. First iteration, what will come? See, where do I want names to be? 1 to 10, right? So my iteration should start from 1 less than equal to. So I will, if you replace with this with 1, please be in mute. When you unmute, please go into mute because unknowingly you disturb everyone else. Without knowing, you disturb everyone else in the session. Please be in mute, everyone. So percentage 0t will be replaced with what? 1. First time 1. So this will become what? Next time? String 2. Next string 3. So is it new in Verilog? Sorry, new in system Verilog? Yes, sir. Next. Same code, same logic. Again, same thing. Exactly same. Now, comparison can be done in the same manner. In fact, you can do even string arrays can be compared directly. Any array can be compared with any array, just like you don't need to go by index basis. Clear,
Sir,
right?
I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I mean, we can also, I mean, actually, we declare an array using the string data type, right, sir? Sir, we can
Yes.
also assign the values to that array by using double quotes, I mean,
See, how will you write double
characters.
quote? That's what. Right, string I. Will you write string I? Will it work? What it will do? Will it replace I value with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the iteration? What will happen if I do this? All the 10 elements will have the same value. What is the value it will have? STRI, not 0.
Yes, sir.
STRI. I is I only. I will not be replaced. You got it? You
Yes, sir,
understood
I
the
got.
logic?
Yes, sir.
No need of copy. Go here. String matching. Because we created both same, right? Created both same. Now what I could as well do is I can print these values. Let's print, even if they are matching, let's print what is there in each array. This is where you will understand the specialty of percentage P. See, percentage P is so convenient. Just print everything in one go. Pack printed. Both are same.
Yes, sir.
There is one mistake we have done. Extend down to 1. Because my index is starting from 1. No? That is why one of the element is coming empty. In the end, one element is coming empty because of that. Because zeroth element we didn't fill. Now it will come. If I run now, here one will come. Clear, right? Till now. We will move on to the next type of array. See, till now what we worked is a static arrays. Now we are going to go to the next type of array, that is dynamic array. So let us understand how to work with dynamic arrays. What is dynamic array? Size is allocated at runtime. Size can be changed during the runtime. I told you, right? You can increase the number of chairs, you can reduce the number of chairs in this room. Then it will become a dynamic room. So how do you declare a dynamic array? Int DA, open bracket, close bracket, nothing else. If you keep a star, it becomes associative array. If you keep any data type, it becomes associative array. If you write dollar, it becomes a queue. So there are how many types of dynamic arrays? Three types. Associative arrays repeated twice. Okay. Three types of dynamic arrays. What is the first type? Dynamic array itself. What is second type? Associative array. What is third type? Queue. Now let's do the same question what we did earlier. You remember that array of word data type, allocate size of 10. Only thing here we are doing what? Dynamic array. Earlier we did what? Static array, fixed size array. Now we are doing dynamic array. Let me show you how to do this. 2 minutes it will take if you understand the basic concept of dynamic array. Int array, int dynamic array. Everything else same. Only thing is don't give the size. It's like allocating a room without any chairs initial. That's what is our intention. I say without chairs, then how people will come? How people will see? What is the solution? As people comes, you bring the chairs. That's the solution. So what do you do? Only different here is everything else remains same. Since you wanted 10 people to come in, you allocated size of 10. If you wanted 20 people to come in, is it easy?
New is keyword, sir.
New is a keyword. That's why it's in brown color. It is used to allocate the memory to the dynamic array. Any dynamic element, if you want to allocate memory, use new. Even when you go to object-oriented programming, you will use object equal to new. New means allocate a memory space. Right now, till here, there was no memory space. Here you are telling allocate 10 spaces. Allocate spaces to hold 10 integers. Allocate memory to hold 10 integers. 10 integers
Sir,
are
I
10
mean,
digits.
in the
Tell me.
sir, here we mentioned like new of 10, right, sir? I
Yes.
mean, like 10 in the sense means like 0 to 9 only, right, sir? I mean,
Yes, 0 to 9.
uh,
See, run it. You will not see any difference. Two arrays. First they are mismatching. Next. So whatever you do with normal arrays, you can do with dynamic array. Only the initial part will differ. Now comes the benefit is you can go here, resize the dynamic array. Now how many chairs were there? 10. Now you made how many chairs? 20 chairs. That is what is makes it dynamic array. See, otherwise you may be thinking you are unnecessarily complicating it. You could have directly declared 9 out of 10. The benefit comes where you can resize it. Sometime later, you can resize it. Clear?
How to reduce?
Sorry?
How to reduce? Like that.
Int array
New file.
new file. New 0 means what? Delete.
Nothing.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, what will happen to the elements which were already there?
So there is a provision where you can keep, see, mu5 means there is an option where if you keep edge vector, it will keep the existing elements. Whatever 5 elements that are there, they continue to be hold. If you don't pass it, it will erase and just give a default values. Default values will be all zeros, let's say. It will fill all 5 elements with 0, 0, 0, 0 values. Whereas if you give vector array, it retains the existing values. Let's say if I do mu of 20, what it will do, 10 people were already there. Existing 10 people will continue to sit. You're just bringing in the 10 new chairs. So the 10 new chairs will be empty. Existing 10 will be there. Whereas if you don't give this at all 20 chairs will be empty. That we'll discuss. As of now, let's not get deep into it. We'll discuss when we go to dynamic array topic itself. There we'll discuss all this. Clear? All these examples, whatever we discussed. Next. So, what is that I was trying to tell you is basic comfort with the arrays is very important. Verilog language concepts and shortcomings. So here we are trying to tell that Verilog language is not sufficient. Verilog language is not sufficient for verification purpose because it has got very few constraints. You can see what is there. Please read. You would be able to follow what I'm telling.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please tell me.
Sir, we have something called automatic when we define functions or tasks.
Yes,
So,
I
sir,
will discuss
how?
that today. Yeah,
Okay, sir.
there is a specific topic, automatic and static in system Verilog, where I will explain it.
Sir, in Verilog also we can write automatic.
We can write this.
Sir, how it would be different from like this will be the same dynamic only in that
Same.
case.
No, no, automatic and static is different concept. We'll discuss that.
Okay.
Static means every time same memory gets used. Automatic means every call, every function call, new memory gets used. That we will discuss
Okay.
in a few sessions. You understood, right? Verilog language is very limited. Very limited. It has got very few things. If I show you system Verilog list, it will be at least 20 times bigger than this. Number of elements in system Verilog will be at least 10 to 20 times bigger than that list. That's why you have more options to do the things. Verilog has a lot of drawbacks in setting up the test bench. What are the drawbacks? First type is what? First drawback is what? All data types are static type. I told you what is static and dynamic, right? Did I tell you? So which one is better? Dynamic. Dynamic is memory efficient. See, let's say you have only 5 people coming in, you don't need 30 chairs. Only get 5 chairs. That is what is efficient, right? Efficient way of utilizing the chairs. Now, chairs in our system is memory space. Next, because it is static in nature, declaring complex transactions is difficult. Complex transactions many times requires us to increase the size, decrease the size, dynamically you want to do. System Verilog can do it efficiently. So the problem with
Excuse
Verilog
me, sir.
is, one second.
Excuse me,
Problem
sir.
with Verilog, please 1 second. In Verilog, the problem is, if you think that sometime in 1 year, in 365 days, this training room is going to have 80 people. We have to go with the worst case assumption. What? We have to keep 80 chairs always. Regularly, let's say only 10 people attend. But throughout the year, you will keep how many chairs? 80 chairs. That is how Verilog works. You have to always go with the worst case size. The worst case size can be up to 80. So you keep 80 chairs, even though you don't use. In system Verilog, what you do? Today you open, you know that 10 people will use, you create 10 chairs. Tomorrow you know that 15 people will use 15 chairs. Let's say after 100 days, 80 people will use, you keep 80 chairs. That is system Verilog. That is what we mean by dynamic. Yeah, now ask me the question.
Uh, Actually, if we know the size of array, if we knew it, then only we can use dynamic array. You are saying that?
Not like that. See, dynamic array, eventually you need to know the size of array, right? Without doing the size of array, how can you create an array? Now, there is a possibility where the array size can differ. See, the classroom size itself is differing. There are 15 people now. Tomorrow it could be 12 people. Tomorrow it could be 20 people. That becomes dynamic. There you go for dynamic arrays. When you know that every day only 10 people only will come compulsorily throughout the training, I'll go with static arrangement. What is the benefit with static arrangement? I don't have to move out the chairs, I don't have to bring. That is the benefit, fixed. But what is the disadvantage? As and when it changes, I have to accommodate that additional. Next. The problem with Verilog is its low level abstraction.
Static array
It
fixed.
works at, it works at low level. So the communication between components, scenario implementation happens at low level. What is meant by low level is, let's say, I want to give one packet, let's say Ethernet packet. You might be aware of a little bit of Ethernet packet. It will have preamble, SOF, destination address, source address, the length, payload, CRC. There are almost 7 fields up there. It's a very big packet. In Verilog, you can't give the whole packet at once. You have to give on a vector by vector basis. 16 bits, next 16 bits, next 16 bits. You'll have to do almost 256 transfers. I'm just telling you roughly. It could be 256 or 500 transfers so that the whole packet goes here. That is called as low level. You know, in system Verilog, what we do, there is a provision where you can just give whole packet, just like that. That packet itself will have preamble, SOF, destination address, source address as a one unit. Instead of sending one person, we'll tie all the people, just give all the people to other room. That is what is called as higher level. Low level means what? You have to take each person, give one person, one person. So here you, in Verilog, you have to give 16 bits, or you may say why 16? It could have been 32 also. It could have been 64 also. But you still have to give on a bit by bit vector based on. In system Verilog, you can just give the whole packet as a once. Clear? Next, no pre-implemented data structures like FIFO and Q. See, in Verilog, FIFO, did it come from language or did we create FIFO? We developed FIFO, right? Did we had anything like FIFO in Verilog directly? No. If you come to system Verilog, everything is pre-implemented. FIFO is already implemented. Q is already implemented. Dynamic array is already implemented. You don't have to do any implementation. You just have to use it. You don't have to do any coding. I mean, then you may say in system Verilog, I won't do any coding. We'll do. But basic structures you don't code. FIFO you don't have to code. FIFO you can directly use. That FIFO in system Verilog is called as mailbox. Same FIFO term in system Verilog called as what? Mailbox. Because they wanted to give it different naming. In Verilog, it is difficult to build test bench for complex designs. Why it's difficult? Tell me. Because everything in Verilog happens in one place. Imagine complex design means what? Let's take one analogy: engineering college. Whole engineering college run in one big room. Electrical department one room, one side of the corner. Mechanical one side of the corner. Computer science one side of the corner. But all done where? One big room, one big multi-purpose room. Is it workable? That is what happens with Verilog. If you try to do everything in one very complex test bench, that's what will happen. What system Verilog does? It divides the whole that into electrical engineering block, computer science engineering block. Then each of them further divided into smaller blocks. That's what system Verilog can do for us. Verilog is very difficult to do that. No dedicated constructs for project progress tracking. Like in system Verilog, we have something called as functional coverage. That tells you how much progress you have done. In Verilog, that concept is not there. In Verilog also you can track, you can still tell, not that I can't tell anything at all. But system Verilog gives you more accurate information. Next, I think let's not get into it. Oh, okay, next thing, module can't be passed as argument to task and functions. mean it is not possible to write task, let's say sample, module A, module B. Is it supported? Can I write a modules as a argument? No, right? Whereas Ethernet packet A, Ethernet packet B. Ethernet packet is nothing but a module definition. It's a class. It's a class. If it's a class, you are able to pass the argument. The whole class can be passed as an argument. Module can't be an argument. This becomes a very major limitation. You have to pass individual element, one element only. In system Verilog, you can just group everything and pass as one unit. Reusing of existing code is not easy. In Verilog, if you have to reuse, most of the times you have to copy and paste it. Copy the lines and paste it. That is not efficient. In system Verilog, there is a concept called as otherwise the way reuse works in Verilog by using task and functions. I think that's the better way of doing it. In system Verilog, there is a better way of doing it. It is called as inheritance, where you can reuse the things just by calling a keyword called as extends. We'll discuss all that. So in many respects, in many aspects, system Verilog is more efficient than Verilog. Then what is the only problem with Verilog? Sorry, what is the only problem with system Verilog? We have to spend 7 weeks of dedicated effort to learn it. That's the only additional pain. Otherwise, system Verilog is always better than Verilog. This is how a sample Verilog code looks like. So I don't need to explain this also, right? You can have wide range declarations, assigns, initial block, always, task and functions. Let's take a look at this and probably wind up the session for today. Okay? So in system Verilog, it's a hardware description and verification language. Verilog is hardware description language. System Verilog is both description plus verification. It's an object-oriented programming language. Means in Verilog everything is built using modules. In Verilog everything is built using modules. In System Verilog everything is built using objects. So it's an object-oriented programming because everything is viewed in terms of objects. Are you getting the point? Why it's called as object-oriented programming? You go to interview, they ask you why System Verilog is object-oriented programming. What is the simple answer? Everything in System Verilog environment is viewed as an object. Generator is an object. BFM is an object. Monitor is an object. So everything is being developed as an object. So it's a object-oriented programming. Then what should I call Verilog as? What should I call Verilog? Module-oriented programming. If at all I have to tell something, I have to tell what? Module-oriented programming. What is that makes System Verilog so unique is they have taken best of the things available in every language. Whatever best available in Verilog, anyway, everything in Verilog is taken. C language, they have taken structures, unions, functions, anyway was there. C++, what they have taken? Object-oriented programming. All those things, whatever is best available in every language. There is one more language called as Vera. That also they have taken. Now, what is Vera? I never heard of. Right? Vera is a very much verification language actually, developed by Synopsys. Synopsys has developed back in 2000. When 2000 they developed the language Vera. That language, it was purely meant for verification purposes. Actually, that was an object-oriented language. Then what they did, they took best of everything and they created what? System Verilog. System Verilog has what? Both static and dynamic construct. It's not only dynamic. Okay, understand. System Verilog is not only dynamic. It has got static plus dynamic construct. Support for lot of dynamic construct. What are those? Class is a dynamic construct. Dynamic array, mailbox, queue, associative array, semaphore. Next. It has got additional constructs added for design description. Let's say in Verilog we only have what? Always. In System Verilog we have always underscore FF. FF stands for what? Flip-flop. It is used to implement the sequential logic. If you know that you want to develop a sequential logic, you won't write always. You'll write always underscore FF. You are telling to the tool that my intention is flip-flop only here. Sequential logic. Next what? Always underscore com. Next is what? You remember in Verilog there is a concept where if you don't write the default of the case statement. If you don't write the else case of the if statement, what does it result? It can result in latch, additional latch. By using this, you can avoid that. If you wanted only combinational, you write comb. It supports a lot of things: constraint random verification, coverage driven verification, assertion based verification, complex scenario generation. We'll discuss all those things as we go forward. Yeah, that's all. Just a quick closing. This was from Verilog. I mean, see, whatever is the outermost box is system Verilog. Whatever is the outermost box is the system Verilog. This is taken from Verilog. This is taken from Verilog 2001, which was released in 2001. This is taken from C++. Then what this must be taken from? Tell me. What is the only thing that's left? Vera language. I told. What was the only thing that left? Vera, right? So these things must have been taken from Vera language. Now, what is there? Let's not read it, because even if you read it, probably you won't be able to remember. As we go forward, we'll touch upon it. Just remember that it has got a lot of constructs. That's what. Okay. And they are not going to be very complex. They are not going to be very complex. With the right effort, you can learn it. So we will stop the session here. We'll end. Okay. Uh, Today's assignment, please don't keep any grudge on me. Okay. So I don't keep any grudge on you. I'm trying to improvise you, because after all this effort, if you can't do basic arrays and basic integer things, it's very problematic for everyone. Your company, you, me, everyone. So we have to figure out a solution where we are going on. Okay. We'll end the session. We will give the access to the people. Okay. Thank you.